wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. In here we will present about interlanguage in SLA. Before that, I will introduce my team member. First, myself, Muhammad ASRUNI, and then
MILNAWATI,
ARIANSYAH,
HAIRUNISA TUZZAHRA,
ANISHA YASMINTYA.
and then we will present about interlanguage. The first material will be behaviorist learning theory. In this material of interlanguage, there are behaviorist learning theory. Language learning is like any other kind of learning in that it involves habit formation. So behavior is like a habit that we can learn another language by having a behaviors by ourselves. And then there is a habit is a stimulus response connection. It was believed that all behavior, including the kind of complex behavior found in the language acquisition, could be explained in terms of habit. So, habit is a stimulus that we have and we give a response. And then, habit is also like behavior that we usually do and common day, and it can be explained, and we can acquire a language by acquire the habit itself. And the next will be explained by Chacha.
So the next is a mentalist theory of language learning. So there is how the environmental factors shape learning, and then how the innate properties of the human mind shape learning. And then in the mentalist theory of language learning in 1916, and a mentalist theory of a first language L1 acquisition emerged according to this theory. The first one is only human beings are capable of learning language. As we know that every human is having capability on their mind. For example, like human children show the same form of communication as the babies when they crying or gesturing, but they slowly learn the words of the language. When they grow up, they use for communication. And the next is the human mind is equipped with a faculty for learning language, referred to as language acquisition device. This is separate from faculties responsible for other kinds of cognitive activity, for example, logical reasoning. So, as we know that every human are smart, so every human equipped with a faculty of learning language. For example, parents encourage their children with cognitive activity or development in the areas of memory, concentration, attention by incorporating simple activities into their everyday routine. And the next is this faculty is the primary determinant of language acquisition. And the next is input is needed but only to trigger the operation of the language acquisition. The next will be explained by ARIANSYAH.
Next is interlanguage. What is interlanguage? The term of interlanguage was created by the American linguist RIZKY, and they argue that L2 learners contract a linguistic system that draws in part on the learner's L1, but is also from the language target learners. Interlanguage is therefore a unique linguistic system, and the concept of interlanguage involves the following premise about L2 acquisition. First is the learner construct a system of abstract linguistic rules which underlies comprehension and production of the L2. And the second is the learner's grammar is permeable. And the third, the learner's grammar is transitional. And the last is some researchers have claimed that the system learners construct content variable rules. And the next is MILNAWATI.
Okay, I will deliver ARIANSYAH explain. Number 5, learners' grammars various learning strategies to develop their interlanguage. The different kind of error learners produce reflect different learning strategies. For example, omission error, error transfer, and overgeneralization. First, omission error is forget to put article like a, and etc. Error transfer is transfer process of L1 to L2 done wrong. And overgeneralization is over in use grammar. For example, it use s or es in present tense and ed in past tense. And the last is the learner's grammar is likely to fossilize. Slanker suggested that only 5% of learners develop the same mental grammar as native speakers. And the next material will be delivered by Yasmin.
So I will continue the material. My material is about a computational model of second language acquisition. The concept of interlanguage as a computational model of second language acquisition can be viewed as a metaphor of how second language acquisition takes place. A computational model of second language acquisitions describes that human mind or second language acquisitions works like a computer. A computer which represents the basic computational metaphor of interlanguage and second language acquisition. So here is the example of how second language acquisitions takes place. The first is input. The learner first is exposed or given a second language as an input, which is proceed to the next two stages. First, second language is taken into a short-term memory called intake. After that some of the intakes is stored in a long-term memory as second language knowledge. The processes that responsible for intake and second language knowledge happen in the black box of the learner's mind, where interlanguage is constructed. Finally, the second language knowledge used to produce spoken and written output, or what we have called as learner language. This basic model of second language acquisition can be explained in a number of ways. For example, the second language knowledge component can be broken up into two or more components depending on the knowledge learner construct. An arrow can be drawn from output to input to show that what a learner says or writes can also serve as samples of language from which intake can be derived. And that's the end of our material. We think that's all from us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.